Miami Hurricanes ranked 70th in total defense last year. Not good enough. This year, I hope it's going to work. The approach is going to be more direct, more disruptive, and more aggressive.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, co-host of Locked On ACC, and writer for Canes County at Rivals. And thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox. No console needed. Head to amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. On this loaded episode, we're going to get stories from Greentree, from a man who basically lived on those practice fields during his day at the University of Miami. And yeah, we'll talk about fixing that defense. Before we introduce a former Miami Hurricanes player, let's introduce the truth teller, because it is Tuesday today. Bruce Warner, we're fixing that defense this year, I hope anyway.
I think we're fixing the defense. I think this guy has a lot of opinions on it. We'll get to that. But let me introduce, everybody knows he's one of my, if not my best friend in the whole world. I've known him for 36 years. We're really tight. You know, he stays with me all the time. He couldn't come down 2 weeks ago for the spring game. His mom passed away. And you guys know my mother-in-law passed away. The funeral was yesterday for those who didn't follow up on it.
God bless.
The two of us are in mourning. So I'll introduce Mark Caesar. And Mark's got more stories. I have some, but he's the king of the stories. Mark, let me just ask you this.
Yes, sir.
You told me when you got here, one of the first days that you were in that locker room, you got into a fist fight with who?
Mario.
Put the screen up so we can see your face. Yeah. Who?
Mario.
Cristobal?
Oh, what happened? Did you kick his butt or did he kick yours?
You know, I was undefeated at Miami now. I'm saying, never lost. I'm like Floyd Mayweather. Nah, we were sitting right next. I was 71, he was 72. We locked right next to each other. I kind of knocked his helmet off his thing, and he was, Arr! So then his brother ran in there. His brother was
Lou.
Yeah, incredible bulk. So I'm like, it's two of them and one of me. I'm like, damn, I can't win this fight. You know what I'm saying? And then Rod Carter said, ain't no jumping going on. I turned around with Rod Carter and Randy Shannon. I said, y'all got my back? They're like, hell yeah, we got your back. I just stole on him. Bam! That was it, yeah.
Hey, he's got a million stories.
Oh, but hold on. Did you make, like, were you and Mario cool after that? Did you make up? Because you guys were brothers out there.
Thing with Miami is like when you offense, defense go at it on the field or in the locker room and stuff like that, it's like it was war. You went at a person. Then when you left that locker room and practice was over, it was over and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they never held grudges. They just beat the daylights out of each other.
Yeah.
So how about the time you were in Tallahassee? And tell everybody what your intention was when that horse was going to come out.
I had to knock him out.
You're gonna knock out the horse?
He said he was going to knock out the horse.
Yeah, ran up on the horse. And then they picked that horse in the air like this. I said, nah, I don't want to run up on that horse and stuff like that. So I backed down and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And they beat us that year.
They beat you that year.
Well, we won the national championship.
I'll take that.
And of course, everybody knows when you got arrested up there.
Thing is, I was playing while being black, you know what I'm saying, on the York sideline, minding my business and stuff like that. They throwing ice, cups, calling names and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? So I retaliated, you know, so I had this little nerve when I threw some water back, you know what I'm saying? And this cop ran up and grabbed me and stuff like that. I kind of like shoved him and stuff like that. I got in trouble. Locked me up, and I was the victim.
He got locked up at the stadium.
Yeah, and I was the victim.
Yeah, you were the victim.
Yeah.
And who did you call?
I called my good friend.
What's his name?
Mrs. Bruce. I called Mrs. Bruce, the female truth teller. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You didn't call me Mr. Bruce. You called me a lot of things. MF, all kinds of stuff. What happened when you got off the plane in Texas?
We got into fights and stuff like that down there. It was like, to see, we had lost to BYU and got robbed in Notre Dame. But most people felt we was the best team in the country and stuff like that. So we was number 2 with 2 losses. And as we won, they kept dropping us, and they dropped number 4. And I think Texas was like 2 or 3. They was running their mouth and stuff like that. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, yada yada yada. Talking our trash, we're gonna beat the dog out of them. You know what I'm saying? And up to that game, we was playing sluggish because they kept getting on us about being out of control and stuff like that. Erickson said before the game, I don't care what y'all do. Y'all can have fun, celebrate, do whatever y'all got to do as long as you win this game. We went out there, and that's like probably the worst Cotton Bowl victory ever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you called me up the night before the game and said, clear out your bank account, sell my family, sell my house, sell my wife, sell my kids, and put it, because we're going to show them.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what happened. But I didn't expect what happened to happen. I didn't know about all those penalties. I didn't know that they were going to stand there at midfield when Texas was coming out, like taunting them. I mean, that was, although it was a bad game to watch aesthetically for the Hurricanes, it was the most fun I ever had watching them play.
You know, before that game started, right, people realized this. Robert Bailey said, I'm going to run down and knock me out. Man. Sure enough, he ran down there and knocked him out.
Yeah.
That set the tone of the game right then and there. Stuff like that.
But the beauty of it was he said he was going to do it, and he did it.
Yeah.
When we come back, I want to get Mark's take on, what it was like, watching the defense last year. I mentioned 70th in the country in scoring defense, which was not good enough. I mean, thankfully, Miami had the number 1 offense in the country, so they were able to win 10 games at least. But we're going to pick the brain of former Miami Hurricanes defensive tackle Mark Caesar when we come back. You want to keep it locked right here, my friends. We're only getting started on this brand new Locked On Canes. Game Time is the only ticket app that I use because there's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. And even though my Miami Heat, their playoff run is not continuing, perhaps you're somewhere you could still watch playoff games. I can still watch NHL Stanley Cup playoff games. My Florida Panthers are doing great. Every bucket, every slap shot, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in that arena. And with Game Time, you can be part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. That's 60% last-minute deals off buying for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and so much more. And the all-in pricing feature means no surprise fees at checkout. What you see is what you pay at Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you so much for making this episode of Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. For your next listen, make sure you check out Locked On ACC. I co-host that show with Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack. We take you around the conference. You've got this weird TMZ stuff being written about Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend is really running the show up there. ACC proposing changes to the basketball schedule. We'll have all that and more on the next episode of Locked On ACC. But here on Locked On Canes, we're joined by the truth teller, Bruce Warner, and former Miami Hurricanes defensive tackle, Mark Caesar. All right, so Mark, what went wrong in your eyes? What went wrong with Miami's defense last season, and what would you like to see differently? We got a new defensive coordinator and a lot of new staff members on that side of the football. What would you like to see this year?
A D-line that's getting up the field, getting after people and stuff like that. I'm saying, it's like the difference between probably last year and probably going to be this year is probably the big boy that came over from what's that, Louisiana Tech?
Yeah, Blake.
Yeah. If he worth anything in that middle, you'll see a big difference and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't have no great defense, but defensive line and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, guys is ready to get up the field, and a lot of times them guys wasn't getting after the ball and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it showed and stuff like that. Cause I argue with Bruce all the time. He always say what the defense didn't do, and I always say we lost some games. We was within striking distance, and the offense had the ball last. You know what I'm saying? So they stopped them. They had to stop them and stuff like that. But we got to have some dominant defensive linemen. You know what I'm saying? Up front. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to look at the history of Miami. Big guys up front that get after the ball. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in the 90s, in the 80s and 70s, when you had the Lester Williams, the Reuben Carters, and all them guys like that, those had guys who can get up the field. You had the Jerome Browns and the Cortez Kennedy, Russell Merlin, Warren Saps, Damian. No, not yet. Damian. No, 11:30. 11:30. Yeah. Damian Lewis and stuff like that. Guys get after the ball. We haven't had that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got guys that can get after the ball, but they're small. You know what I'm saying? 210, 220, 230 and stuff like that. You need your nice little fat 300-pounder right in that middle that can disrupt things. And I hope the kid from Louisiana Tech is that guy this year.
Let's hope so. Yeah, and I've always maintained this, that the D line dictates what they do. The three linebackers, because you don't want the linebackers chip. You want the linebackers free to roam. And the guys you had like Barrow, Darren, and Jesse, they were making tackles all over the place because they didn't have too many hats on them. They were free to be able to make plays, and it makes you don't have to cover that long in the secondary because the quarterback's under a lot of pressure. So it all works together. But if you don't have, we didn't have that much pressure last year, and if we did, the guys used to escape the pocket and made spectacular plays. It seemed like everybody we played was a Heisman Trophy winner.
See, when you have a D line, it takes 4 guys to get one quarterback down. Because see, if you're 1 in 3 technique, your tackles are not getting no penetration. When them guys bust up the field on the outside, he's able to step up. You know what I'm saying? And he'll kill you and stuff like that. Right. Or if them guys up the middle is bowling up the middle, and he's able to get on the outside and stuff like that. So everybody, it takes 4 guys to do their job for one person to get a sack and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like years past, like I said, you got guys that can get after the ball, but they're small and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to cause no fear and stuff like that. I mean, when you have like, what game was that I'm thinking about? We played, what's the first home game we lost last year?
Oh, was it Georgia Tech? No, that was on the
road. I'm talking about Georgia Tech. I'm talking about Georgia.
I don't think we lost at home last year.
We lost on the road. We lost the year before last at home.
Okay, yeah. Georgia Tech game like that, right?
Yeah.
Remember, it was like 3rd and 18 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they able to run the ball on us, pass the ball on us, and stuff like that. And it's like we couldn't stop them. You know what I'm saying? They literally had a quarterback who couldn't run, and we couldn't get off the field. Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like
it just seems like 3rd and 18 was like 3rd and inches. It didn't matter. It was 18 yards that we were giving up the first downs. We played terribly. No pressure, and the coverage in the secondary. Wow, that was the worst I've ever seen.
You can give up 15 yards. I mean, but yeah, like I said, it was like they go to Syracuse up 21-0, and then lose. I mean, like.
They were winning the bowl game too. They were winning in the bowl game too, and the defense did nothing. Yep. You know, we it was a shootout with Louisville. What was the final score? 52-45?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. I mean, that's just not good defense. That's not Miami football.
Well, and Mark, one of the names, you mentioned when you were talking about defensive linemen getting upfield, you mentioned Damen Lewis, who's now the defensive tackles coach this year. And, we've had a chance to talk to Damen since he took the job here at Miami. We've had a chance to talk with Corey Heatherman, and I know they want to get these guys upfield more direct and more aggressively. I mean, do you think a guy like Damen Lewis now coaching the interior of Miami's D-line that can make a big difference?
Yeah, because he was taught. See, it's 2 types of philosophy when you play defensive line. You react, You read, then you react, or you react, then you read, and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? If you react, then read, I mean, you're going full speed up that field. You know what I'm saying? Then you're going down that line and stuff like that. Not where you read and then react, but you got to come off, look, then you go and stuff like that. You lost 2 points per 10th of a second and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, you want to get them guys flowing to that ball, and it's like you got to make them bounce to the outside. You got the linebackers that are going to run them down, stuff like that, going to straight run them down. Or you got the defensive backs to cover two, keep everything in front of you, and we're going to rally to the ball. I always remember this one game, we playing Syracuse. And they pass, Quasi Ishmael, he dripping and running, he coming across like this, and then he went to dip again, and Russell Merlin running full speed this way. Man, 20 yards downfield, fumble the ball and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got to run to the ball also. That's another thing I don't think enough of, you know what I'm saying? Everybody running to the ball and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, the defense looks on paper to be better. We don't know about the offense, but again, we had the first pick in the draft. So, you know, do I expect to drop off? Of course I do. I thought Cam Ward was incredible, but I expected the team to be more balanced. If the defense is better, the offense will be better because they should get the ball more often and have shorter distance to go. Last year, they were going 80 yards every time. They had no choice.
Right.
So Cam was something special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got to get, and our special teams have to be better. Kickoff and punt return. And like, to be nice if we could block a punt once in a while.
Yeah.
But, you know, the big game, we have Notre Dame, first game out of the box at night.
Who?
Notre Dame.
Don't be the dog mess out of them, man.
Is that the team you hate most, Mark? Do you hate Notre Dame more than Florida State? Like, how do you rank that?
The thing is, I don't hate Florida State. You know what I'm saying? That's a little brother. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's our little brothers and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They trying to be coming there, smack, get out here. What's the name? But then I hate them. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you go back to the day when Notre Dame used to beat Miami, it was like they was playing them in the 60s and 70s and stuff. It's like Notre Dame always played at Miami because that was a vacation to them. Now come the 80s and stuff, and Miami start whooping their behind and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? People getting upset and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Now they start making what's name? Catholic versus convicts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, the way I think what they really wanted to say, they couldn't say what they wanted to say, Catholic versus, so they come up best safe word to use is convicts and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to look at Miami played them, what's that? 86, 57, whatever it was. They embarrassed the coach going the way out. Then the next year, before what's name, I think 85 and 86, they beat them 24-0 and stuff. It was embarrassing Notre Dame and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So to make up the game, Catholic versus this, and then they robbed us and stuff like that.
Yeah, well,
we're joined here by former Miami Hurricanes defensive tackle Mark Caesar. Want to talk a little bit more about what the Greentree practice fields were like in his day. Yeah. You want to keep it locked right here. We got Caesar with us. We got the truth teller with us. We're not done yet on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. Guys, now is the time. If you haven't already gotten in on FanDuel, the deals keep getting better and better. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. Stanley Cup playoffs. FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into those player props, from three-pointers to steals to assists. FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. Do not miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 bonus bet today. Thank you for making Locked On Canes your first listen. For your next listen, check out my pal Brian Smith on the Portal podcast. This time of year, guys, I know. Players are no longer allowed to enter the portal at this point, but you still have guys out there waiting to be signed. Miami's got A.J. Halsey visiting today, the standout Houston safety. Miami is going to be getting a visit from a standout Tennessee Volunteers safety later this week, Jacob Thomas. So very much defensive backfield is still in play for our Hurricanes. Some receivers are still in play as well. So make sure you check out our guy, Brian Smith, on the Portal Podcast, free wherever you get your podcasts and free on YouTube. We're joined here by the Truth Teller, and we're joined by former Miami Hurricanes defensive tackle Mark Caesar. Mark, you talked earlier, we teed you up to talk about, your first interaction with Mario Cristobal was a fist fight before, you guys, of course, made up and everything. But what was it like day to day on the Greentree practice field? And how many times a day did you guys practice back then? Was it 2 a days, 3 a days?
And we had like 2 a days before the start of the season and stuff like that. Went once a day and stuff like that. I mean, those are some great practice back then. I'm saying it's like that's why a lot of guys you get guys right are going to be woof this and that. I'm saying, but then it's like they always judge you how you was on that Greentree field and stuff like that among your peers and stuff like that. I mean, you had some good games on there, some good fights. I mean, yeah, that's some good things on there like that. Yeah.
But you guys worked really hard. It's not as if, they come out with this convicts nonsense, but those guys worked hard. I mean, I watched them out there, and they didn't have what they have now. Not an indoor facility. They had these little water things that they would put. They had plastic buckets or plastic tubs. That would be they'd ice down after the game outside, while they're already sweating bullets. So it's not the facilities that it is now. But it didn't matter to them. It was the pride of playing for you. It was very competitive. Guys that were on those teams were afraid to lose their spots. So they went out and they played hard every day. And when they say that those practices were harder than the games, look at the results. 58 in a row at home. Wow. But they did, sometimes they played to the level of the competition. They played Toledo once. They won 24-14. And everybody's, what's going on here? But when the big games back then, the Notre Dame games, Florida State came in number one. What was the story with that? You guys were the national champs, and FSU came in number one, and they made a video.
Yeah, that was a good video.
They made a video, and the score with Miami beat them 31-0. It was like a takeoff on the Bears, I
remember it was a play when Cleveland Gary scored a touchdown from 3-yard out. And he met Dereon at like the 1 yard line and he ran him over.
Dragged him in the end zone.
And Brent Musburger said, prime time look like late night there. And stuff like that.
Oh, that's a great line. I don't remember that one.
And of course there was the barrow hit on Vanover, which you could still hear.
Yeah.
Even though the Orange Bowl's gone, you could still hear that. Boom. That was loud.
By the way, Mark, how much do you miss the Orange Bowl? I mean, that was your home. That was where that 58-game home winning streak took place for Miami. And listen, there's been certain times like Notre Dame game in 2017, Hard Rock Stadium was really loud. Hopefully we can recreate that for the Notre Dame game in a few months. But I miss the Orange Bowl so much, Mark. It's never been the same for me since they tore that building down.
See, like you said about the Notre Dame game at Hard Rock, right? It's like that place gotta be full up to get loud and stuff like that. With the Orange Bowl, you can have 35,000 people in there, and that place was jumping,
right?
Stuff like that. I'm saying it was like it was on you, and that was the dumbest move they ever made, getting rid of the Orange Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it was because, like Bruce said, you remember this as well as Mark does. Like with the Orange Bowl configuration, the seats were like right on top of the field. Like there wasn't this huge gap between the sideline. You were like right on top of the action, and also like the building was made of metal, so there was like it vibrated and it echoed like all throughout the building. So it was just something magic about the way the sound would travel there to the field. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, it was loud. It was really loud. And then a lot of times they had a call when they were in the closed side. The fans really got on those guys, and it was a big deal for us. But we don't have that advantage anymore. We've had some big games, but that home field advantage is just not the way it used to be, because you kind of felt like you were a part of the team. You made noise, and like the UCLA game when we came back and beat them. That was a great game. I didn't think we'd come. I don't know if we would come back in the new stadium, but over there we did. Edge had 298 yards. Pretty darn good.
Have they returned back to glory then?
So,
Yeah.
Mark, talk to us about your experiences on the road. You know, people didn't really like Miami. They probably still don't. You guys had a love-hate with everybody in this country. So you go on the road. I mean, you called me once from Iowa, and you said they were calling you guys out for like stealing Cadillacs and things like that. That's kind of where this Catholics versus convict. A lot of the country didn't understand what Miami was about. They didn't understand the camaraderie. They didn't understand the history and the background of these kids. And so it was really easy for them to point them out as thugs, you know, because they did have fun and they did salute and they did all these things. What are your thoughts about playing on the road? You guys did pretty damn well on the road too, didn't you?
Yeah, we only lost. Obviously, only lost 5 games on the road. You know what I'm saying?
5 games.
Yeah. The thing is that what a lot of people hate. If you look at like a lot of teams like now, right? Teams started hating Kansas City. When you win so much, saying people hate you. You know what I'm saying? The fact that we was winning the most, and talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we betting y'all, yada yada yada. I mean, yeah, it's like people just hate that. So then when they see a bunch of people, and it's like not transforming to the rules and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like when What's they did a thing like this and stuff like that. To a lot of people, it's like, can they do that and stuff like that? I'm saying we were just out there wild and having fun, man. People don't take Miami serious back then. You know what I'm saying? Here it is, and they getting up in your face, they punch you in your mouth and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like Brent Musburger and a lot of them guys, they started hitting Miami is when Miami beat Notre Dame 58-7.
Right.
Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And didn't show them no mercy and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
So
Mercy.
you won 2 national titles. Should have had 2 or 3 more. But you played here. I know Jimmy went up to your school in Newark, West Side, and then you came to Florida. And what convinced you to commit to Miami? I know they took you on a boat trip. So what happened during the boat trip that you decided?
When I came down to Miami, right? It's in January. Kid from North, ain't never been nowhere. January. I come down here, you know, I got the baddest corduroy suit on, sweating like a basin in the airport, just sweating. I'm like, nah. Everything I bought all winter clothes, you know what I'm saying? Ed Owens Ron, who was a graduate assistant then, he took me somewhere and got me some stuff, some UM stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? We went out, hung out, ate here, ate there, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm still not convinced about Miami, you know what I'm saying? I got to think about some stuff like that. The next day, they take us out on this boat, and we ride. They got a new beach in Miami.
All over.
So you ride, you know, all you see is you're like, damn.
Hey, Mark, use boobies. Say boobies. I don't know if you could use the other
Boobies,
word.
yeah. You seeing boobies everywhere, melons. You're like, man, it's all right, and stuff like that. It's my type of school and stuff like that. Then you get to the middle of the bridge, right? And they tell you look left and look right. And you look left, you see all the houses going down, I mean the buildings and stuff like that, right? He said, this is heaven. Why you go anywhere else and stuff like that? So then the next day I go in there, talking to Coach Johnson, He offered me a scholarship. We want to sign you, this and that, yada, yada, yada. And my coach said, don't accept no scholarship offers. I said, well, yeah, coach, I appreciate it. I really like Miami. I need to go home and think about my family. He shook his head like this. Jimmy said, listen, let me tell you something. If you don't accept this scholarship and walk out that door, there is no scholarship. The next man going to accept it. You going to take it or not?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I'm going to sign. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So
Jimmy. I love that.
The movies and the melons and Coach Johnson, I chose Miami like that. And that weekend there, it was the day of Miami had their ticket tape parade that day for winning the '87 championship. And then I think the majority of that class that was there with me was the class that came in, you know what I'm saying, and signed with Miami. And stuff like that. And I'd say this is the greatest class ever. Leon Searcy, Kelvin Harris want to say, we got three national championships. We had more bus drivers than y'all did. A lot of y'all was bus riders. The '87 team, a lot of them rode the bench to get some championships. That's all I'm going to say. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know why I brought that up.
You're happy you were a Cane.
Yeah.
We have Jimmy Johnson and the nude beaches to thank that Mark Caesar was a Cane.
Yeah.
We can't thank you enough, Mark, for taking the time. And by the way, I want to, wish you on air my condolences. As Bruce mentioned at the top, your mother recently passed, and I thank you for being here today, Mark, because I know you've been grieving and everything, and I've been thinking about your family, and I've been praying for you, as I know Bruce has as well, and a lot of our listeners have as well. Just so you know.
Yeah, they made a lot of comments.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I got one question, Alex. Is that a black hat on your head?
This is I don't know what you call this. It's like a it's like from the 1920s, I guess.
Like usually when I see you, you have a hurricane hat on, and the fact that you got that on, so that the rumors are true, huh?
What are the rumors?
You in the portal.
Hey, look, man, I got a vintage Santana Monster.
Okay,
There's no portal. There's no portal for me.
Oh, all right.
Hey, one last thing, because we have a little bit of time. How about the time that we punked Alex? Tell him what happened, Alex. You're home. The phone rings. It's my phone. You think it's me, and he's on the phone talking.
No,
to you.
it wasn't even your phone. It was just like I didn't have Mark's number saved at the time. So it was just like I didn't even know what it was just a random number I'd never seen before. And I pick up the phone, and he's like, "Hey, I hear you talking all this junk about me on your show." And I didn't know who. Well, you didn't say who it was, so I'm like, Did I piss off? Like, I thought I pissed off like one of the current players at Miami, and he sounded like a big dude because Mark is a big dude. I was like sweating bullets, and my wife was in the room looking at me like, who is he talking to? And it was like a minute, which felt like an hour before I figured out that it was Mark punking. That minute went by in slow motion.
So I'm sure we got a problem. We work it out now.
Well, anyway,
that
was fun. But now, Alex, you're in the club too. So
yeah. Well, now I make sure I got
like
Mark's number saved, so I know if he's calling me, I'm not going to get punked again.
Hey, Bruce, let me see that shirt. Bruce, let me see that shirt.
What's the shirt? Cane's wear. Yeah. Great.
I ain't get mine in the mail.
When are you coming down, Caesar?
Probably in June.
All right. Let me know.
All
right. Thanks a lot, buddy.
No problem.
I appreciate you guys. Mark Caesar, Bruce Warner, the Truth Teller. Thanks everyone so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch. And we'll talk to you again next time on another episode right here on the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.